Welcome to the Whispers from the Shadow podcast. I'm Super Jimmy.
I'm Ms. Pleasure. How's it going?
No hiccups so far. Knock on wood. That is a great way to start the podcast.
We're going to keep it that way, hopefully.
Exactly. So today's topic, and you guys can contribute to this too, is subgenres of horror explained. So if you guys got a favorite subgenre that we might have missed, that we might not be familiar with,
yeah, because this thing goes on forever and a day. Because I'm one of those people that classify thriller into the horror genre because it's got very horror elements.
Yeah, me too. Because it's one of those ones where I've seen some really good thrillers that could easily fall into the horror subgenre.
I mean, one of my favorites of all time is still always going to be Seven. That's always like prime example of like my favorite thriller, or Taking Lives. Like such a good genre. It's not like very in your face gory or you're supernatural or jump scary, but it's like when they use those horror elements very, very well, it's that perfect time. Like for instance, like we talk about for Sloth in Seven, how that whole scene in general is just like so good at being horror.
Especially when he's just sitting there and they're like, I think he's dead. And that one cop just like gets like really close to his face and you just see him just that scared me as a kid. Oh, it's absolutely terrified me.
Showing that to people for the first time, that I'm sure that'll still scare people because it's so easy for that to get everyone.
Yeah. I bet the director was like, "Oh, this is gonna get some people. I just know it."
I'm sure David thought about that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna do.
Each other's favorite. I'll let you go first because I'm gonna have to really think about it. I mean, I can tell you my favorite type to watch, but like as a subgenre whole, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint.
For me, honestly, my favorite subgenre is hands down the psychological horror, or psychological horror, psychological thriller, anything where like hell, even Jigsaw would be considered psychological.
In some senses, yeah. It turned into torture porn, but yeah, no, for the most part, I can see where that can also be the psychological. That's why I was saying, like, when we were saying what universe would you want to be in, for me, it would be the Saw universe, because I would love to see the clones, like Spiral, because I thought Spiral was fantastic. I mean, I know I'm probably like a minority with that, but I thought Spiral was very, very good.
I still need to watch that. I really do.
I loved it. It was hard at first to take like Chris Rock as a serious actor, but like you just get so lost in the story and how it's going.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, it's good.
I gotta watch it. But yeah, I'd have to say for me as a whole, it would have to be psychological or psychological thriller. Anything that really like gets my mind going is my top favorites. And then underneath that, you got your creature features, your slashers.
I was gonna say I'd probably have to go with my monster features, my monster films in general. I feel like one of the more recent ones I have seen that I heard nothing about, but my wife introduced me to was Crawl. I had never heard of it. And I was like, that kind of sounds but I'll watch it. It turned out to be very, very good. Like that's why I love that Man versus Nature, Line in the Darkness, or Line in the Darkness. Oh my God, Ghost in the Darkness.
See,
like Lake Placid, even Deep Blue Sea. Like those are some of my favorites. The Meg, I'm so excited for the Meg too. So excited.
Is Jason Statham returning for that? Sweet. I'm definitely gonna watch it then.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. I'd have to say my monster ones. Like, I still think like for me at a very young age, like I grew up around like my uncles who are obviously older, and like grew up watching a lot of the 50s and 60s and 70s style movies. You know, the westerns, the cartoons, and so on. Like, that's what they grew up with and whatnot. And like I remember seeing them. That's where I saw the original movie monsters: Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, Creature from Black Wolfman. That's probably what like really makes me love the genre so much. It's just because I love seeing what pops into people's heads in these situations, as dumb as they may seem. You know? Yeah.
Honestly, I have to agree because if I were to go with like classic, classic horror, like from the I'll go from the 50s to the early 80s is what I consider classical horror. And let's see, for me, I'd have to say my favorite out of all of those would have to be hands down the Wolfman, because there was one scene as a kid that actually like terrified me. And as cheesy as it may sound, it wasn't even like scary per se. It was where the Wolfman kind of like peeked around the
Mhm.
tree, and you just see his face, and it's just the way that it glowed, and just like the way that they showed him, it just scared the actual crap out of me.
Yeah, no, and at a young age, like I said, I've said before, with like Thinner, that was like the first horror movie I fully remember watching at the first. Um, it's just hooks you, and like that scare sometimes is like what makes you keep watching more of them, is because you want to get that high again. In a sense, I absolutely love that feeling.
Yeah.
At least to me, and that's how it is. I can't speak for everyone on that. Everyone has their reasons for loving the genre, but no, yeah, for sure, that was a good one.
For me, I like honestly what made me fall in love with the genre was I have to say the earlier horror movies that I watched, because we watched like Halloween, stuff like that. You know, stuff that wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
really give me nightmares as a kid, but was
Well,
still
like I said,
scary.
what we said in the like before is that, like, I mean, we're a product of our time, where like those were
Yeah.
considered cheesy and we were showing them at a younger age.
Yeah. And the what was it? Just the feeling of like panic, like get out of there, get out of there, get out of there, run. Oh, why'd you fall? Was
That
like
anxiety.
was like what got me hooked on it. I just like was in love with that whole situation.
Yeah, no, agreed. Sorry, there was a motorcycle going by.
No, you're fine. But
um, I mean, like, again, we grew up with a lot as well, with the Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Darks? Even some of our cartoons started doing it. I mean, hell, we used to grow up watching like when they would have like Toonami and such like that, and we're showing like a lot of anime. A lot of that was terrifying in some senses too.
yeah, it was yeah, it really was, because the what was it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? I talked about where the pool, or the one about the pool scared the crap out of me. That was more of your creature esque ones, but they did a lot of like surprisingly a lot of psychological ones, because it was the whole, did the kid imagine it, or was that monster actually real, on some of the episodes, and they redid the show in the 2000s, 2010s, I believe.
Yeah, I do remember when they did that. I feel like it was actually a lot earlier than that long, but regardless, yeah, no, and it's just like another one of my favorites that I can always watch anytime is like religious horror, but like there's
Yeah.
very specific religious horror ones that I have to watch. I like all of religion horror though is like so bad as a subgenre, because it's like the same typical boring stuff.
Yeah, I honestly I have to agree, because it's just like it's once the exorcist finds out the demon's name, you're like, okay, that's done, that's over with. But like with like your
It's the
slashers,
it's the build up most of the time for me with like religious horror, like for The
yeah.
Conjuring. I love how that story is told, whether you agree or
Hmm.
not. But like, I love how Juan shot that whole film. It's fantastic. And
Oh
then
yeah,
The Exorcist is another one. The original and the remake of The Omen, I'm on board with. Well, the
yep.
on the trilogy, I do believe. And the new remake was I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, because I did like the new Omen, because it brought in some more gorier elements than what they had available in the 70s and 80s. And then where they did the CGI and they used it properly, it actually turned out pretty well. But for the most part, what I could tell was that it was all um, actual like people and setups and
Effects and
props.
stuff. Yeah, props and practical effects and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
no,
practical.
I haven't seen that movie in forever, so I haven't even I don't remember the special features on that one.
Yeah, because that came out in like 2008, 7,
Six.
6. Yeah,
I was a
East.
sophomore.
I remember that. Yeah, but yeah, for the 10, yeah, I'm going based off of the 10 popular subgenres. We have your demonic possession, paranormal, monster, slasher, zombie.
Zombies
Uh,
always hit miss with me. I mean, I'm if I when I mostly like zombie movies, it's usually the '80s or
yeah.
before. Like Romero is obviously a key one, but even like your Night of the Living Dead's,
Hmm.
when they use it in a lot of other movies, just that concept, I love. I mean, that's why I love like the Resident Evil franchise.
I mean, fair. Yeah, that's fair. And then we have gore, splat. For some reason, it has splatter in quotation marks. Oh wait, okay, I get it. It's the, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have witchcraft, vampire, and psychological, and then comedic. But we'll go through all of those.
Oh yeah, I would say horror comedy is like one I always start. I would like to start with just because I want to get it out of the way that I absolutely hate Zombieland.
And then let's see. For this, what it says is comedic horror is possibly the most fun of all horror movies out there. It's a subgenre that is equally funny as it is scary. It takes the viewer to complete the opposite ends. It takes the viewer to complete opposite ends of the horror spectrum, resulting in a roller coaster of emotions. Classic examples of comedy horror films include Scream, Shaun of the Dead, and Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods.
It's a very parody on the horror genre, but that elevator
Yeah.
scene is still the best scene of that whole movie. Is so good.
Oh my god, yeah. Ding. Oh shit.
Best part. But another one for me is Ready or Not, which is why I have Samara Weaving in the back, because fantastic movie.
It really is. But you know, for that elevator scene, I have one question. Since the monsters were like let out of their cubes in Cabin in the Woods, they just like look at the elevators and go, "All right, let's go. Everybody in the elevators, let's go."
Maybe that I like how they all immediately like form an alliance with each other and don't kill each other when they're released.
You know, yeah, fair. Because that giant snake probably would have messed up like a solid like 2/3 of the smaller ones.
We'll never know. They formed an alliance. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
best scene.
For me, honestly, my favorite comedic horror of all time, and you know, I like you can call me a fanboy, whatever you want, is hands down Shaun of the Dead, and I'm surprised that they didn't include it. Hot Fuzz, because if you haven't seen either one of those, at the end of Hot Fuzz, it turns into kind of a horror comedy where it's him versus the village that he's in. That's spoilers, but it's not ruining the movie for you. Still watch it.
The movie's also like 10 years old, if not.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, no, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'll give you. That's a fantastic film. It's such a good play on everything.
We'll go grab mom and dad. Go to the pub. Wait for this whole thing to blow over.
It's fantastic. I feel like that's like the first one that I really remember watching. That was a blatant horror comedy thing, because I remember I don't think Scream's horror comedy has got humor in it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't see it as a horror comedy. I mean, that's just me though. But no, that one I will give you, because that's a good one. But like, I don't even know what else I can remember off the top of my head would be considered horror
honestly,
comedy right now.
if it wasn't for Scream, we never would have had Scary Movie 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, fair. I mean, we had the second one was what, House on Haunted Hill. Yeah,
because I mean, Scream is really what started it all, because that was the one where it was like, "Hello, Cindy." Mm-hmm. My favorite scene in that whole movie is where he's going up the stairs and then she pushes the piano down after him and he's just running back down.
It's so good.
Such a good one. But for me, honestly, Shaun of the Dead is my favorite, because to this day, I can still quote my favorite scene in that, and that's where they see the zombie at the end of the road and they're like,
yeah, no, that's a perfect scene. I remember looking up some of them now. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is one of my favorite ones that plays on the horror. I love that movie. The movie's so good.
That movie is hilarious. Let me see. I'm gonna look up some more, because I love horror comedy.
Like I said, I'm on the fence with some of them, because some I feel like they're trying a little too hard in some senses.
I still haven't seen Renfield.
Tremors is another good example that I love.
Tremors, yeah. Tremors is that one's goated.
It gets pretty cheesy in the later ones, but yeah, no, that's a good one.
Let's see. One that I see on here, surprisingly, is Ghostbusters, the original.
Yeah, it was actually a horror comedy if you want to look at it that way, because there are some very terrifying scenes in that.
Yeah, because number 2 got me the worst with the painting, because when he like moved his head at the guy and he was like, huh, I also was like, huh.
Yeah, but, no, that's like one of the ones we were going to try and do on the topics was horror and not horror movies. What was that we used as an example before? I think it was either in an episode or right before we recorded. Is Pee-wee's Big Adventure with Large Marge.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I remember that. I don't remember if it was before or during, but yeah, like the freaking Large Mars, that scared the absolute crap out of me because I think I was maybe 8 or 9 at the time. So I had only seen like one scary movie, and that was probably like Halloween. So it wasn't like jump scare. It was just like, oh, but
Michael in the background. Yeah, no,
freaking Large Marge.
It comes out of left field too. Like
It really does.
Her face looked like this. I was like, oh my god. I thought this was a comedy.
My favorite part was when he just like looked at the screen. He just went instead of screaming like a normal person would.
Yeah, like, do his scream, of course.
Like, damn it, Pee-wee. Scream how I would.
Well, it's like, you know, what's one of your favorite, because it just popped in my head, animated horrors.
Ooh, yeah. You know.
And for me, I probably go with like either, I'd have to go with Coraline more than anything.
You know, Coraline was definitely a good one. Because my wife is not the biggest horror movie fan, but she does not like Coraline whatsoever. Because it is scary to her, which different things are scary to different people. Like I would not want my eyes to be sewed up with buttons either.
Just a thought.
What's that, babe?
And then
yeah, she says it's psychedelic. She doesn't like psychedelic. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. The first time I watched that, went into it blind, not expecting anything.
I expected a comedy mainly because of Alan being in there.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk. And I was like, okay, I can see this as being a comedy. But I didn't know I was getting that. I just love how over the top it is and how everyone, like the kids kill themselves pretty much. It's just fucking hilarious. It was
on Net. I think it's still on Netflix. I could be wrong, but it was on Netflix for like the longest time. And oh my god, that was just like my favorite one was where the guy like tries to run up behind him and then like jumps into the friggin' wood chipper. And he just turns around and he's like, oh.
I think they might be part of a cult. They're killing themselves.
That was so funny.
So good.
And what started it all was they ran away from them, and that one kid got speared by the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's so stupid, but it's so fun. It makes me laugh every time I watch it.
Oh, I love it. What would your favorite horror anime be? That's what I'm curious to know.
Honestly, I've watched the same anime like so many times. I've introduced so many people to it. It's called Another, and that's just the name of it. The basic concept for it is there's a school, of course, and the kids in a specific class in the school, because the way Japan separates their classes up is into like you'll have like 2A1 or 2A2, and they're all part of like that grade or whatever. And the last class that was in the specific class and classroom that they were in like 20 years before them was considered to be cursed, and they're now considered to be cursed because a bunch of the students in the class are dying mysteriously. Fun fact, this exact same anime gave me friggin' just stupid fear of umbrellas. If you watch Another, it like hands down one of my favorite horror animes of all time. But I've watched it just so many times, and it's that same scene all the time. Girl tries to run away from the person that they consider to be cursed, and she falls down a flight of stairs. The umbrella lands in front of her just perfectly, and it goes like right through her mouth. And then as she's sliding down the umbrella, it opens up on the back of her head. I'm like,
that's a fun way.
I'm like, oh, okay. Now I don't like umbrellas.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a very valid reason. I love how like horror just gives you like the most random fears.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like,
that one was fun. Like in TV shows, cartoons, and movies and stuff, like quicksand just like immediately absorbs you, and like it makes you feel like every sandbox when you're a kid is a fucking quicksand pit.
Yeah, that was like the thing. That was like the thing forever, because our playgrounds in my first elementary school was nothing but sand in the bottom. and I fell off of the big kids monkey bars and landed on that sand. And fun fact, it did not soften the blow
Oh no,
whatsoever.
it's like
I
fucking
knocked
concrete, dude.
all of the wind out of myself. I just laying there, just.
Oh yeah, no, taking those kind of spills sucks. That in Tambark, if Tambark's not wet, dude, it hurts so bad. It's not a cushion at all.
We had the big kid swings, because we had two separate areas. You had your first through or your kindergarten through second grade playground area, and then you had your third through fifth playground
that's
area.
how mine was.
And then if you were a first grader, you could go over to the big kids playground, but it was requested that you stay over on the little kids playground. Well, me and a couple of my friends went over to the big kids playground, and they had this giant swing. Like it was so high off the ground when just sitting on it, because the big kids would take it and like spin it around the pole to give it less links. And what I didn't know as a kid is that when you put tension on a chain like that and you continue to swing with it, it snaps. So I friggin' was going super high. I like just so friggin' high on this swing. And as I came down, the chain snapped and it friggin' just shot me like a fucking skyrocket at one of these big kids. And me and him both ended up getting hurt. And words out of my mouth were, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He's just sitting there. He's like, "Are you okay?"
I always love how like durable the human body is, but it's not at the same time. It's so funny. I mean, you hear the story, like you hear some random ass story, like some dude jumped out of a plane, his chute didn't open, then fell into the ground and just like broke his leg. And then you hear people like tripping over one stair and dead, broken neck.
It's like, well, we are on two very opposite of the spectrums today.
But yeah, it's so weird how the body is. But that's actually one of my favorites. Would be like, that's why I think why I love body horror, is like seeing what people do to like the human body in general.
Oh yeah, that movie is like, I think it's given a lot of people like different ways if they were to like, if they were ever stuck in like an interrogation in like a scene, and they were like, oh, if they started doing that to me, I would talk in a minute. Like, oh
yeah.
Like I have to say I agree.
I think that's why I like body horror in that sense, is because it's like I like seeing kind of the fucked up shit people go through in their head, and like seeing that stuff. Like even with like aliens, seeing like creatures in that sense, just like the anatomy of them is like what fascinates me in a sense. And then with like the Thing or the Fly, I love like especially with the Fly, the slow from man to insect transformation throughout the whole film. You see it like just taking hold.
Can we who for the Fly one, who was the main character? I forgot his name.
Jeff Goldblum's character?
Yes, Jeff Goldblum. I love how he was like a normal person before he like got zapped with the Fly, and then as he slowly became the Fly, he became more like Jeff Goldblum.
fair. I think what I love the most about that is how you just see how progressively after that transfusion happens, even like when it fails and they show the like chimp all just inside out.
Yeah,
it's like it's super fucked up, but it's like, oh, I like that.
It's like, poor monkey, but cool.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah, for me, like honestly, for creature features, if I were to pick one that was outside of the like the old school ones, I would have to go with either The Fly 2 or this one really niche movie.
The Fly 2 is such a weird one, but I really enjoy it. It's not a sequel that I wish was made, but I'm glad it's made, if that makes sense. I enjoyed it. It's nowhere near as good, but
like I like how the fly creature actually looked in that one, because it fully transformed.
I did like that. Yeah, I liked how that looked. I'm not gonna lie. I did like how that animatronic looked, or but whatever. I don't remember if it was a suit or not.
I think it was a dude in a suit with animatronic. I could be wrong, but the only thing that I didn't like about it was honestly how when the fly died, instead of it just like, just going out and just being like, it was like kicking and the screaming, and then like as it died, it slowly like curled up like a fly would, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's fair.
Whereas like the first one, didn't he exploded, didn't he?
Well, he tried to get Gina Davis's character, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, into the teleporter with her so he can become the family could be one.
Yeah.
And it was ended up being just him. And I think she like broke the power, or like the power was shot, and it just transferred him, and he got all like turned inside out, and then he holds the shotgun to his head, and she blows his head off.
Yep. I do remember that. Let's see, if I were to say anything other than that, it would honestly have to be, and this one's actually another horror comedy, is the first Gremlins. I didn't like number 2 all that much, but I did like number 1.
That's like one of the best Christmas movies though, so it's totally
Fair.
happy with it.
I do like Gremlins.
I appreciate Gremlins. It's not my favorite. I used to like it a lot more when I was younger, but for some reason I'm just like towards it now. I still enjoy it. I mean, Mogwai's like my favorite, so that's like one of the few things that's like really cute and adorable that I love.
Yeah. The thing that made me actually really love the Gremlins is it was like, hey, listen, there's 2 rules, just 2. Don't break them. He breaks them like instantly, like less than a week later, just broke both the rules and was like,
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet, and no problems. What happens like 2 days later? He gets them wet. What happens a week after that? They eat after midnight, and then he's just like sitting there, and he's like, "This became a situation I could have easily avoided."
Could have. Well, what's another one? Like another subgenre that I would say.
But we have the zombie. Let's see. Let me look at the list. We have demonic possession, paranormal, monster, slasher, zombie, of course. And we've gone to ends on our love for zombie.
Yeah. The love and hate relationship with it. Demonic and paranormal can almost be put in coincide in some senses.
Yeah.
Because some of them are demonic possessions of an inanimate object, but that's also paranormal, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like the first, what was it? Conjuring, the first Conjuring.
That was a demonic possession and supernatural. Yeah, before it all took the possession part. Yeah, no, I agree. Insidious would be another one I guess you could put under that one too.
Poltergeist?
It's been years since I've seen the Poltergeist. I don't remember. Was there a possession in there?
No, well, I mean, the house was possessed.
Yeah, true. I was gonna say, and the little girl does get taken into that fucking dimension.
Fun fact about that movie, I think I've said it before, I'll say it a million times because I forget all the time, but they actually used real skeletons in that movie because they were cheaper than props.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's swimming around in the water and all those dead bodies are floating around her, those are actual dead bodies. It's like,
I don't remember what kind of lawsuit that was again, but yeah, that was a interesting time.
People got sick like that. Like and can we talk about the fact that The Omen and the original Exorcist all had like curses,
spooky ass shit. Yeah,
I was like, because they had like a bunch of people that actually like died on set. The little girl that played Regan, I think she made it to the second one, but died mysteriously after that, or supposedly something like that.
I don't remember all the curses behind it, but I just remember they were like the cursed films.
Yeah.
Filming is weird. Do spooky shit, get spooky results.
Honestly, if I were to go with demonic possession, I'd have to say my favorite one out of those would have to be, I think it was The Exorcist number 3, where they go into like the origin story of Pazuzu, and how he,
very good one.
The one that actually made me really like that was the scene where he was crawling through the tunnel, and then his lighter cuts out, and then he's like sitting there trying to flick it, and like you see his face, and then when the lighter actually cuts back on, you see the possessed woman. She's like right there, and he's like, ah, and the demon's looking at him just, rawr, and I'm sitting there in my seat, and I'm like, ah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Demonic possession would be a really hard one for me. I mean, I have several that I absolutely love. Your Exorcist, Conjuring.
James Wan's done a demon possession movie, hasn't he?
Yeah, Conjuring. He did the Conjuring.
That's what I thought it was. That's what I thought.
And he also did Insidious.
That's right.
I love those. What's another really good demon possession one? I mean, if I would actually go with paranormal, would be one of my favorites is Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds. I absolutely love that remake. another one for paranormal. I do like the Paranormal Activities. I'm not gonna lie, I do like them.
I like them for what they brought to the, because I wasn't a fan of the found filmage found blah, blah, blah. Jeez, found
Found
film.
footage.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that type of horror aside from the original Blair Witch, because we don't talk about number two.
Yeah, we do not talk about Book of Shadows.
No. God, that I remember.
Moving on. We don't need to give that movie any attention.
Technically, I would consider the Blair Witch a form of either paranormal or demonic possession, because the ending.
You know what? That could. The witch doesn't actually possess anyone that I remember. I could classify that as the paranormal more than the demonic possession. But I mean, that found footage really gave us some really good gems. Like, was it Wreck? I think is like that.
I think
Quarantine.
So. Yeah, Quarantine.
They did give us Cloverfield. That would I still like Cloverfield.
Cloverfield wasn't bad for what it was. It wasn't really bad. It made me very motion sick.
Yeah, it's very, very jerky. But I did like how they did it. It made me enjoy the movie. But it wasn't like over the top that everyone made it up to the hype. But I do love the direct sequel of the Blair Witch, the more modern one.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
Loved how that one was. That's probably like one of my favorite like random sequel that came out
like 10 years later, or 10 to 12 years later, or something like that,
from the Book of Shadows. Yeah, it was like what 20 years from the original.
Yeah, because the original came out like 98 or something like that. I know it was
98. It was like mid late 90s.
Yeah, it was like pre. It was like pre two. It was like pre two. What was it? Y2K.
Yeah. Oh my god.
You remember when that was a big scare like that? Like, dude, I'm gonna find all those movies that they made about years like to like 2012. 99, really? Jesus. I'm gonna go through. And when my kids are a little bit older, I'm going to make them watch all those movies from the years like 2012, the movie 2012, and be like, I lived through that just to fuck with them.
I hate disaster movies. I don't know what so it bad. Is. I hate disaster movies. Volcano,
the only one that I like. The only one that I like, oddly, is and it's not even like, oh, I absolutely love this movie, was 2012. It was kind of like, what can humans do to not die? Oh my god, The Knowing. Oh,
I mean, if you
The Happening,
like The Happening. I mean, yeah, that's technically
because you had Mark Wahlberg go. My favorite line in that movie, the only line that I still remember, was Mark Wahlberg just bursts in the room all dramatic and he goes, "It's the trees," and then just stares blankly.
The only reason why I wanted to watch that movie, I remember the trailer just showing like some dude feed himself to the lion. I was like, I'm sold. I'm gonna go see a movie. Saw the movie. I was like, yeah, that's probably the best part of the whole movie.
That was
the dude like lays down in front of the lawnmower,
or the one that like he's like just randomly stands up and then like walks off the side of a building, and then like someone turns around and sees it happening, and then just sees a whole bunch of people following him. I was like, why? And then Mark Wahlberg, "It's the trees." I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, the trees are pissed off at us. They
revenge. Yeah, I'm not a fan of disaster movies. I don't know what it is. They are entertaining in some senses. They're not for me.
Honestly, I don't see if something like, we'll say, The Day After Tomorrow was actually going to happen. I don't see more than maybe 1 million people worldwide surviving, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Because
I just, for some reason, as like a movie format, like if you put it into a realistic sense, yeah, that's fucking terrifying. That would be horrible. Waterworld, Mad Max, Waterworld. Like those disaster kind of like post everything is like, it's not a world I want to be a part of.
Yeah, no thanks. I get enough of Mad Max Fury Road whenever I got to drive somewhere on the interstate. I'm perfectly okay.
Yeah, for sure. I'm good. Just we're gonna stop that right there.
That we're gonna nip in the bud. But yeah, no, like I don't like I don't like disaster movies. The only one that I kind of like is The Day After Tomorrow, just for the simple fact that like it's kind of seeing like how people survive certain situations. Like when the world started to like ice over again, that was probably my favorite part of that entire movie. But other than that, it was okay at best.
Yeah, that I would say the same. I mean, everyone likes their own thing.
Yeah,
If we're gonna go to like slashers, that's a lot harder to choose from because I love so many slashers.
there's
I need
so
to see
many
the
good ones.
Terrifier series. I heard it's really good. I know it's gore porn, but I heard I need to watch them. Oh god, but yeah, horror,
The
like favorite
only
slasher. I would still probably have to go with Freddy.
my if I were like okay, so my least favorite slasher, honestly, hands down, would have to be Leatherface because it's like what you know what is he without his what is he without his chainsaw? He's not superhumanly strong like Jason or Michael. He's
No,
not
but he's still
incredibly
pretty
fast.
strong.
Yeah, I mean you know he's above average human, but
No,
he's
I
not
know
like
I know what you're getting at though. Yeah, he's not like
yeah
when you come to most slashers, like the overwhelming, overpowering force and like
yeah
that they bring. Where I get that.
because they killed him in one of them where it was literally they just shot him in the head and I was just like oh Michael that happened to Michael he got back up he was pissed he was very pissed
Yeah,
but
that's
like
fair. One that I appreciated, my wife showed me, was the town that feared sundown or something like that.
oh I know the one you're talking about
The town
yeah
that dreaded sundown.
yeah that one was actually pretty that one was really
I
good
never heard of it. I didn't even know it was like an original thing or based off a real story. I do believe, but I really enjoyed that film. I thought that was like a very very well good like the way it is just really good. Another one that I like that has slasher elements in it was going to be Zodiac. That just popped in my head. Sorry.
Zodiac is good yeah because they never figured out who he was and then there was that whole thing back in like 2014 where they tried to make it like one of the politicians
Yeah.
that was so stupid but it was so funny
There's been like the pseudo captures and stuff like that,
yeah
or like people claiming to be him. But yeah, no, I remember my parents telling me about that whole story because that happened not too far from where I grew up.
wow yeah because
Yeah,
they were that was
because
all
it
in
was
that was all in Cali
in California. Yeah, and it was that was very terrifying for them apparently.
and
I mean, I don't blame them.
there's still people trying to cipher his like his manuscripts and stuff to this day like they still
That's
haven't
right.
figured out how to crack it
Yeah, which is wild.
but for me honestly my favorite slasher that I don't think I think he gets credit but not enough credit honestly would have to be Hannibal
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I could see that one.
because he's not so much the I'm gonna chase you down and murder you. He's the I'm gonna fuck with your mind until you break, and then I might kill you. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna see how this plays out.
Fair. One that popped into my head, I had to look it up. I can't remember the name, or if I was right with the name. But The Final Girls is another horror comedy that I love. But I also love it as a slasher because it's done really well on the horror elements and whatnot. Like I really enjoyed that.
That reminds me of that one about the birthday. Happy Death Day.
Oh, Happy Death Day, yeah.
Birthday Massacre was another one that was kind of it was funny to me, but like not a lot of other people found it funny. I was like, why am I the only one laughing? What's wrong with you guys? And they're like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with you? And I'm like,
one of my other favorite slasher films is I know what you did last summer. Like I don't know why that is one of my favorite films. It's so good.
And what's funny is that it's not the same guy in the other sequels.
Mm-hmm.
And what's messed up about it is that it's just a normal dude. Like he has no supernatural power. Or I think they gave him supernatural powers in like the third or fourth one. Made it kind of stupid.
I only seen the first two. I didn't even know there was more after that. I just know I know you did, and I still know.
I think there's 4 because I think they tried to remake the first one, abandoned that midway through the movie, and then they made a 4th one, which was like a direct sequel to like the second one or something like it was weird.
I didn't even know.
But yeah, I remember I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I still remember. And that one was
another one that just popped in my head that my wife introduced me to was Wrong Turn.
Oh my god, yeah. That one could be considered that one can be considered technically a creature feature because they're mutants.
Yeah, I was gonna say technically, if you want to throw them in that.
So creature slasher. My favorite one in that one is the one where, or my favorite scene is in the first one because the other two are just,
Oh, there's like 5 or 6, dude.
oh my god, I didn't even know they made that many. Yeah, the other ones after the first one are
There's some good ones. I think it's the third one I really like. I can't remember. It's been a while since we've seen the series, but there was one that like I think it was like the fifth or sixth one. It is just like so fucking bad. It was like this is I I know it's not supposed to be taken seriously, but like this is so bad from like everything. It looks very B movie, but it holds its place in my heart. It's so bad though.
my favorite scene in that one is the one where they're running through the woods and the one lady like runs through what's the barbed wire and it like cuts through halfway through her head or cuts all the way through the top of her head. I was like, oh, they got that from Ghost Ship.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. That's another film like that be considered supernatural, or would that be considered possession? I think that'd be more supernatural more than anything.
For
Ghost Ship,
Ghost Ship,
because we touched on that subject, and that's one that we can bring into that. Because there was another one that popped in my head, and I just lost it.
Ghost Ship. I mean, yeah, supernatural, definitely. Possession. I mean, yeah. Since I considered the house and Poltergeist.
Yeah, same with Amityville.
Yeah, I mean, Amityville was based on a true story that was based off of a Stephen King book, which I didn't know he supposedly wrote.
I didn't even know about that either.
I just remember it was based off a true story.
Yeah, that's all I remember it being. But I had to circle back to that because it popped in my head. Another one. So we were doing slashers. We've said a few. We went back to possession. Oh, actually, what just popped in my head when we came to like the supernatural was came back to my god. I hate when I get a brain fart like that. I just had it again.
It's the worst.
It is. It really is. Anywho, what's another subgenre? We haven't done thrillers, and I do know a thriller that besides Seven that we heavily talk about. I always will praise Seven.
Yeah, Seven was good.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I was gonna say is
my favorites.
One that we had talked about before recording this was The Machinist. Like that element, I really really love.
Yeah, because it did a little bit of body horror because of Christian Bale's character.
Bale, the way he committed to that role is so disturbing, is so good.
And then to see him turn around and gain like all of that back, because he dropped from like 100 he dropped from like around 190 from doing Batman to like 125.
He did The Machinist, then he put on the pounds for Batman.
Okay, so I had it backwards.
Yeah,
because I remember he gained weight for one role, lost the weight for The Machinist, and then gained the weight back like 6 months later. I was like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, the man puts his body through hell. It's insane.
In an interview, he said, I would not recommend anybody to do what I did to do that role.
Another thriller for me that I absolutely love is Memento. It is my favorite movie of all time. That is my absolute favorite, but that very whodunit and thriller feel that they do that Nolan did with that film is one of my favorites.
You know, I do like the occasional whodunit because what was the movie that I watched not too long ago? It was Bullet Train. Bullet Train was a whodunit. It was actually pretty good. Brad Pitt did all right in that movie.
I was 50-50 on it. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it reminded me of Smoking Aces, and I love Smoking Aces more.
Fair, yeah, I do like Smoking Aces a whole lot more.
Smoking Aces is just really good, but
let's see. For me,
because thriller goes on down a lot of lists. I mean, we have Donnie Darko there as well. That's also could be supernatural. I mean, I absolutely love Donnie Darko.
Yeah, because I've watched that movie so many times, and it's like there's still so many things that I like that still catch me off guard that I forgot or that I can't remember or I didn't notice the first time. And like,
yeah, that's fair. Another thriller that's because speaking of Donnie Darko, it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Is Nightcrawler. Have you ever see that?
Yeah, I watched that. There's a fan theory about that movie.
What's
they're
the fan
thinking that
theory?
he's a vamp. They're thinking that um
Jake's
just said his
character.
name. Yeah, Jake's character is a vampire.
I feel like that kind of defeat the purpose of it, of the film, of what it was going for, but I could kind of see that, I guess. I love how like creepily and eerily he gets to like try and recreate this in his head to make it look better. It's like
Yeah,
would make a better like scene, and that whole is just so fucking good. It's so good.
I actually really enjoyed that film because I went in not expecting very much from it because I didn't know anything
Yeah,
about it,
same.
and I watched it and I was like, oh, because you know I would say I'm a Jake Gyllenhaal fan to an extent. Like I haven't seen everything he's in, but I do like movies. I do like any movie that he's been in. I don't think he's made any bad movies per se.
I don't know. I mean, he's an actor that's in movies I watch sometimes.
Yeah,
I
fair.
can't really think of him as like my favorite actor in this movie at this moment,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, the ones where he gets like the lead role, I actually like because I liked him in Spider Man. I liked him in Donnie Darko, and surprisingly, the number two, Donnie Darko number two, not that bad. Really, really not that bad. I enjoyed it for what it was because if you go into it expecting it to be Donnie Darko number two, you're going to be very disappointed. But if you go into it expecting it to be the sequel to Donnie Darko, not that bad.
That's fair. That's fair. Ooh, that popped up in my head. Favorite action horror?
Ooh,
Because
oh,
I'm torn, but I already know exactly which one I'm going to go with, and it's probably going to be Predator.
ooh. I would have to go with either the Alien or Predator franchise or Slither
That's fair. That's fair.
because like I don't like the action horror where it's anything other than a creature personally. I've seen some good ones where it's not a creature, where it's like 28 days, like the first 28 days later, I kind of liked. I didn't think it was the greatest movie of all time, but it like had elements in it that I liked, where like the one dude was just running across an entire field with like 15 or 16 people chasing him.
Oh, and the second one, yeah, in 28 weeks, yeah.
Yeah. They were supposed to make it 28 months later, but I don't know what happened with that. But yeah, I'd have to say um any of the aliens, any of the predators, and Slither, hands down,
Fair. I
any of
mean,
my top
there's
favorites.
there's not a lot of action horror that I can really think of off the top of my head. End of Days is another one that I really loved.
End of Days is good.
Constantine, I really enjoy.
You know they're making number two, and Keanu
I
Reeves
know.
said
I
yes.
know. I'm excited.
So
I'm
excited.
excited. Even though
I
it's like
am.
very not Constantine in the movie, like from the comic books, but I still really enjoyed what I got.
I because he wasn't the same one that I remember reading because I read the comic book. I didn't know it was a comic book until after I watched the movie, and that's how I got introduced to John Constantine. So I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a badass character." I go in, he's a snide remarking, smart ass British guy that whose soul isn't allowed to be collected by heaven or hell because it's considered too valuable, and he's pissed off angels, demons, and God. Like this dude has just been like, "I'm immortal, I guess. I don't know."
It is what it is.
I looked up some more action horror. World War Z, it was
Oh my
50
god, no, no,
it was 50
I
50 for
can't.
me.
I can't. Oh my god, I love
I,
Max Brooks and I love the book because it's like little collections of stories.
yeah.
But that movie is just Brad Pitt going around the world and is oh my god, it's so bad.
Yeah, like
It's so bad.
I wasn't the
I have
biggest
the
fan of it.
I have the common cold. I'm immune. Oh no, I'm healed.
Haha.
I'm dead.
Haha. Chicken pox, bitches. I got a week to live.
I I don't know. I could not. Uh, I could not
Honestly,
with that movie.
I liked aspects of it. I didn't like the movie as a whole. I like certain things about it. That was about it. And then
That's fair.
let's see, on here it has the new
For me,
Hellboy.
I haven't seen the new one.
I
It was
liked
like
it.
2017 ish or whatever it was. Um, no, but the remake of Dawn of the Dead is a really good action horror for me. I love
Yeah.
how that is. That movie is a very, very good remake.
My favorite character in that movie had to be Ving Rhames. He did amazing.
he just does a great job at everything he does. I love him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I loved him in oh god, had John Travolta, Uma Thurman.
I knew you were thinking about Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it.
I was like, I am pretty sure that's what you're thinking of. I was like, it's probably gonna be a Tarantino film.
I just love the part where he's walking across the street and he just looks over, sees Bruce Willis, and he's like, and just Bruce Willis just hits him with the car. He's like, "Fuck this."
Mm-hmm. No, that is a very good scene. Tarantino's. I still think my favorite film from him is Reservoir Dogs, but Pulp Fiction is normally his one that everyone says is his favorite. That or his World War II one, Glorious Bastards.
I liked Inglorious Bastards. I liked From Dusk Till Dawn. I liked his Planet Terror and then Death Proof. I liked all of those. Outside of
his Kill Bills, I love his Kill Bills too.
I get a lot of hate for this, but I'm not a biggest fan of the Kill Bills. I like them, but
I don't love the first one the most. First one's just really, really good.
Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your toes. 2 hours later.
Big toe.
Yeah, like that. I was like sitting there watching that, and I was just like, "Oh, she's learning to walk again." And I was like, I liked it for the gore. I liked it for the aspect of what was behind it. How it ended, though, I was just like, how did he teach her the 5-point palm exploding heart technique? Like, don't you have to test that on a live person to check the accuracy?
We don't ask questions.
I'm like, there's so many questions I have. That's what I like. Number one, not the biggest fan of number two because of the ending, but that's just because I have so many questions that are left unanswered.
I mean, Tarantino is an acquired taste in some senses because he'll grab you with one movie and he'll turn you away with the next. I mean, because I love Reservoir Dogs. Pulp Fiction's a very good one. The Kill Bills, Jackie Brown.
I forgot he did Jackie Brown.
Django. I really like Django. Django's very, very good. I did enjoy Glorious Bastards. What was his Western one? Hateful Eight? That's the only
Hateful Eight.
It's the only one I have not seen.
That one. I forgot he did that one. So yeah, I like that one too. That one was actually pretty good. Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson did amazing in that one. I can't remember who his co-star was in that. I think it was
Kurt Russell, wasn't it?
It was Kurt Russell. Thank you. Yeah, I like that one. I'm looking at some more horror action horror, excuse me. Let's see, we have Dawn of the Dead, the New Mutants. I haven't seen that one yet. I want to watch it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Of course, if I want to be that like purist, from comic book to movie was not what I wanted or what I liked, but I enjoyed what I got out of it. I didn't really see it as a horror though, but I could see how it's horror. It's got very horror elements in it.
Oh, I take back everything I said. My favorite action horror of all time, hands down, Dracula Untold.
No, that's fair. I really enjoyed that movie. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But oh my God.
It's not Orlando Bloom,
right? It was Luke Evans?
Yes, it was Luke Evans.
Okay.
Because I get him and Orlando Bloom mixed up all the time.
I don't see how you can do that, but I guess I can kind of see it.
like to me, they younger Orlando Bloom and younger Luke Evans looked exactly alike, and I still get them confused in my head.
I feel like the best way I see them being confused is as Will Turner from Orlando Bloom and Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, Luke Evans. Yep. I can see how that. I can see that. Yeah, that's like the best comparison I can see for me for that to get them confused.
Yeah, that's what really confused me was just seeing them both do similar roles around the same time. But when Luke Evans did Dracula Untold, I loved that movie. Like me and my wife went and seen it in theaters, and then we bought it on Blu-ray. Like I still have it somewhere.
I think I have a Blu-ray of it too. It's a good movie. If I buy it, it's a movie I enjoy enough to want to keep it.
Yeah, it was a damn good movie. There's one movie on here that I see that I haven't seen that actually kind of piques my interest. It's called Frankenstein's Army. Came out in 2013.
Oh my God, that's the one with Aaron Eckhart, right?
Yeah. Looks like him on the front. It looks interesting.
I haven't seen it. Or if we're gonna go with that kind of like, because I feel like that's just more straight up action, not really a horror film. I guess it has horror elements, but if we're gonna do it like that, I would have to say like Van Helsing then, because I absolutely love that movie.
that one.
because
I
that's based off of
wish.
the old stories. Because you have Dracula, you have the
Yeah,
Wolfman.
I honestly wish that they would have done the sequel because
Oh, same.
they were gonna disclose like Gabriel's
More
origin
right hand
story
of God stuff. Yeah,
because he
left
was
hand, left
yeah,
hand of
left
God.
hand, and he was supposed to be it was supposed to be disclosed on what on like how he became the archangel that struck down um Dracula
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff, and they
There was a lot that was going to be going with it. I'm sad it didn't go through, but I mean, Universal really doesn't do that much.
yeah, like if
But I
like
did
honestly,
love that throwback to like just that time. I did.
yeah, honestly, if they wanted to do their own, because at the time they were trying to start their own cinematic universe. If they wanted to start their own cinematic universe, they should have started with Van Helsing too.
Yeah, they could have. I know they did the Mummy, and that was supposed to do their dark universe thing, but yeah, that got shut down real fast. I would have liked to see where it goes, but I'm glad it didn't happen. I'm very glad it didn't
Honestly,
happen. I remember mentioning that in the sequels that didn't happen.
yeah, honestly, I if they would have gotten somebody other than Tom Cruise to play that part, I could have seen that movie going very well because it had Russell Crowe.
I heard the main thing with it was that they gave him too much control and he changed too much of the original script or something like that. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I can see that happening.
yeah. I mean, it's Tom Cruise. He's going to take control of whatever he's in. And honestly, I if they hadn't had him in it, I could have seen that movie doing much better.
Fair enough.
Because I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. The only movie that I honestly like him in, Top Gun.
I mean, he's in a lot of movies I like. I do like the Impossible series and so on and so forth. But my absolute favorite film with him is a historical film, is Valkyrie. I
That was
love
pretty good. Yeah,
that movie. That he did such a good job in that film.
he did good. Yeah. Uh, But honestly, what's really funny though is while I'm looking at this list of action horror, The Mummy is on here as action horror. I consider that to be more comedy action than horror, but
I would too, but it does have some scary parts into it, especially like the first time Imhotep wakes up. I remember being a kid.
oh my
And
god,
like
that scared the shit out of me.
scaring the fuck out of me. Yeah,
Yeah, because he
that's one of the
screamed,
movies I
I
really like.
screamed.
Yeah, I remember that's like one of the movies that happened at like a midnight release, and the like everyone's waiting outside the movie theater at midnight, wrapping around the block or whatever,
Yeah,
just to see the midnight showing so we could talk about it the next day. Oh my god,
that
good
was a
time,
really
good
good movie.
time.
That one was a really good movie. I like this list just goes on and on and on because you have like subgenres of this subgenre, horror, underworld, vampire,
That's
priest.
action horror would be Underworld.
Yeah, I liked Priest. I thought Priest was really
I
good,
enjoyed Priest. I enjoyed
and
it for what it
Abraham
was.
Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That based off a novel, but yeah, that one was pretty wild. I enjoyed the film.
I kind of wish that they would have. I kind of wish they would have done more with Priest, like just giving
Well,
it
it's
a
a graphic
sequel.
novel or comic book. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Because I remember reading up on it before watching the movie, so I kind of had some background of what was going on.
yeah. I liked that. Morbius.
We don't talk about that.
It's Morbin time. What the fuck?
We don't talk about that movie.
Yeah,
Trying to think what would be. I mean, well, vampires are very horror, so
yeah.
I mean, hell, if we have to go with like that kind of stuff, I think my favorite would probably be Bram Stoker's Dracula. I absolutely love that film.
That was Gary Oldman, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He is such a great actor. Yeah, I loved him in that movie. I didn't realize that was him until like 2 years ago because I
Oh, really?
rewatched it. Yeah, I rewatched it and I heard his voice and I was like, wait, I know that voice. And I started like I googled cast of Bram Stoker's Dracula because that came out in like 2000,
I don't
I
remember
think.
when I'm off the top of my head, but
And
yeah,
and when I seen that it said Gary
no,
Oldman Dracula
92.
in what?
92.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, when I seen that it was Gary Oldman as Dracula, I was like, no.
Yeah.
This makes me like this movie much
What
better.
made me recognize him is during the when he first meets her, Winona Ryder's character, can't remember off the top of my head, in the ballroom, and when he's very young, That's where I was like, okay, I can see it now. I can see it as Gary Oldman. After, I mean, this is also years after, obviously, when I knew my
Yeah,
actors and actresses and such.
I didn't.
But yeah, in the very beginning, I did not know that. It was like
Yeah,
up until I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I didn't know that it was Gary Oldman in Hannibal.
I forgot he was in
Underneath
that.
all that, and underneath all that makeup, yeah, you would never have guessed.
Yeah, I was very surprised that that was Gary Oldman because I thought that was like some kind of like foreign Dutch actor. I was looking up something because one of my friends was talking to me about Hannibal movies, and I told him about because he'd never seen Red Dragon. He didn't know that was a Hannibal movie.
Oh, I love Red Dragon. Oh my god.
And I told him about Red Dragon and everything like that. And he's like, "Oh, well, isn't that like Hannibal?" He's like, "Is it like directly after Hannibal Rising?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "The way you're actually supposed to watch them is you're supposed to watch the
Manhunter or Red Dragon first, into Silence, into Hannibal.
yep. Yeah, you're supposed to watch the I said Man Rising, Manhunter or Red Dragon first, and then Hannibal, and then Hannibal Rising, because that's the way the books go.
Forgot
And
Silence in there, but yeah.
oh yeah, Silence of the Lambs third. Sorry, because you watch one of those first two first, and then Silence, and then Hannibal Rising.
Hannibal. Yeah. Uh, Another like subgenre that I feel gets too or doesn't get enough attention in some senses. I've seen very few films on them, but I do like when it's like The Happening, the nature horror. Like,
Yeah,
so, like for instance, The Ruins. I really love. I thought that was very, very good.
I liked I don't even know if you consider it nature horror, but I liked As Above, So Below.
That one I would consider more like either religious horror or like demonic horror, just because of like
Fair.
it's dealing with heaven and hell directly.
Yeah.
Um, but no, like The Ruins is like an example that I love. The Happening is the reason why I don't. And then me and my wife went to go see a movie as like In the Earth. It was very nature horror. It was a
Would you
very weird ass movie.
would you consider
But
Tremors nature? Because
I would consider that more creature because you have an actual
fair,
creature in that as opposed to like The Happening where it's the trees or the ruins being the flowers, you know?
fair.
At least that's where I would.
Yeah. I what movie was it that
Because
I
nature horror
saw?
is, I feel, is like a very specific genre for a very specific like group.
Yeah. A- And it's very hard to pull off.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of bad examples and there's a lot of good examples. Or actually, I don't know. I couldn't say that really.
The
But that's a genre
birds.
that's very nature. Yeah. I mean, but that's also, again, could be considered creature mainly because they're birds.
I remember a movie. It was from the 80s or the 70s. I can't remember the name of it, but it had this family that were getting attacked by like bees. Like they're like their house got swarmed by like African killer honeybees, and like they couldn't escape. They put like wet towel. I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna Google it real quick.
No worries.
Um,
I mean, I'm also looking in here, and it does show that like it's when most nature is like actually the creatures of nature. So, I mean, I guess that includes arachnophobia, eight-legged freaks, the ghost in the darkness. Fair, fair.
that's not how you spell honey. There's no e. There's no u in there.
A you and honey? What the fuck?
Let's see. There's actually a couple that I'm seeing, but I don't see the one. There's the Swarm from '78. There's the
Okay,
Killer Bees from 2002.
we haven't touched psychological, like our favorite psychological horror. And I know that's one of your favorite genres. One of my absolute favorite films from that is The Jacket. Have you seen that with Adrian Brody?
I have not.
It is so good. It's very thriller, very horror feel. Very like he gets wrapped up in a straitjacket and gets put into like one of the morgue slides, and he just has like flashbacks to when he was in Desert Storm. It is just done so well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The Jacket
Yeah,
is a fantastic film.
I have heard about this, but I never watched it. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out.
Oh yeah, no, it's very good.
This came out 2005. I would have been 13. So Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because that
Oh yeah,
looks that
no, it's
looks very
so
interesting.
good.
Let's see. For me, honestly, for my favorite psychological horror of all time, hmm, would have to either be Oculus or The
Ooh.
Meat Train, which kind of falls under
Midnight Meat Train.
Midnight Meat Train.
I can see that one. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because with Midnight Meat Train, it not only follows psychological horror, it also falls under creature and slasher.
But one that I just thought of that falls under this and Supernatural is Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon. That's a very good film for me as well. That's
That
very psychological.
that is honestly one of my all time favorite movies.
It's a fantastic
Because
movie.
I haven't watched it in so damn long, but the first time I watched it was oh geez, probably because it came out in the late '90s, early 2000s. First time I watched it was probably had to be about 2007
Fair, fair.
because that would have been yeah about 2007 was the first time that I watched it, and I had to rewatch it because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't pick up on. But
Well,
that
like what? I
the
want to know this.
where he kept like having visions as her pointing him
Oh,
to the
okay, yeah.
killer, but he thought it was the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't pick up on that the first time that I watched it. So I like when I got to the ending because I have a bad habit of like sitting there and being like, oh, that person's a killer. That's the person that did it, and then being able to explain what happened before the end of the movie. And then when I watched Stir of Echoes, I was like, oh, that guy did it. And then at the end of the movie, it turned out to be uh, wasn't it his wife?
It's been so long since I have seen it. I've got to remember everything. I don't remember if it was his wife or not. I think it was.
Let me
But
see.
yeah, no, it's just Kevin Bacon. And like, I'm not a big Kevin Bacon fan because I always see him as the guard from Sleepers.
Yeah,
But I love him in that. I love him in Tremors, obviously, for being him.
my
But
favorite scene in that whole movie is where he cannot hit that fucking nail.
oh, in the very beginning.
Tung, 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 tung. He's just like, he's beating all the way around that nail and he just whacks it like 11 times. And finally, he just hits it once and then bends it over. And he's like, good enough.
Yeah, fair. Ooh, actually, one that just popped in my head too, like more recently for like psychological and like paranormal. Guess you could say creature is Smile. That is a more recent one that I fucking fell in love with. Oh
I
my god.
still haven't watched that, but I want to.
Oh my god. I love Smile. It definitely became one of my favorite films. It is done so well. There's so many things I love about it. That's also
I'm
one of the movies that I have to be careful on how I talk because there's a very good like peeling of flesh scene that I just gush about.
I'm sorry, I mixed up another movie with Stir of Echoes. It was Adam and Kurt lured Samantha into the house and then they killed her
Mhm.
after they did that. But yeah,
What
they
movie
hit
was
her
it again?
body. Yeah, they R worded her. And then
Yeah,
they hit her body in the walls of that house that they had been working on, and that's where all like that's where like that flash
the
of like
paranormal and supernatural elements started taking in.
yeah, that it was so good. But yeah, Smile. I still need to watch Smile.
Do it. It's so good.
I should
I'm probably going to hype it up more than I should because it's not like a fantastic film, I guess, to some people, but
yeah
it is so good. It's also a good psychological because you'll see some of the like shit that happens to her and you just feel for her. It's
because I
so good.
watched I saw a TikTok recently where we were talking about behind the scenes stuff. Very practical. All of their effects are well, I wouldn't say all of their effects because some of it was CGI, but majority of their effects were practical.
Mm-hmm.
Like the monster, like the smile monster, the one that you had as your background a couple
Yeah.
episodes ago. That one was that one was practical. It was moved with like wires and stuff like that with like the puppeteers. So it's already got me hooked. I was like, oh, he uses practical effects. I like it. I like it
It
already.
just even as it transpires, it's just so good. I fell in love with it so fast.
But yeah, like I like let's see for creatures slash psychological. Oh, um,
That'd be a hard genre to kind of narrow down because I mean
Yeah, there's
creatures, psychological and like action could be predators for you.
yeah.
Alien, that's psychological because where is it? That anxiety, but it's also a creature feature. I mean, see, I love talking about Alien. That's like, would alien invasion movies be its own subgenre kind of thing? Because I mean, you've
Right.
got Signs, you've got 10 Cloverfield Lane, you've got oh Nope was another one. Oh god, I feel like that you could do that because I mean Jordan Peele is known for his horror elements right now.
Yeah, I watched Get Out, but I don't remember a lot about it because that was a psychological because let me see if I can remember that plot of that movie. They were stealing away young black people to implant the older white people's brains into the black people.
Yeah, but they address in the movie that's because they're black, but it's because of their like physiology. I think is what they're saying was, but yeah, no, it's Jordan Peele is a very good director. I enjoyed Nope for what it was. It was very very good.
I still haven't seen that. I've been wanting
Oh,
to.
it's good. It's probably
I
my personal favorite right now. I do enjoy Get Out. Us is a movie, but the music in that film, fantastic. Oh my god, I love the music in
haven't watched
Us.
Us, but Get Out, like I enjoyed it. It was very very psychological.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what that.
no, it's really good.
And what was funny is that I did not know that Jordan Peele, the comedian, was the director of that movie until after I
Oh
watched
really?
it. Yeah,
Oh, I knew that because I had followed about it because it was his first break away from like comedy solely, and it was just like, oh, what's he going to do? He's doing a horror movie. This is going to be interesting, and I
yeah,
enjoyed this. I really did.
hmm. Yeah. For me, it
That,
was I was like, oh, this new movie's out. Let me go see it. So I watched it and everything like that, and then it didn't click in my
the
head.
credits.
Yeah, I seen his name and I was like, wait, Jordan Peele, as in Key and Peele, Jordan Peele, as in Mad TV Jordan Peele, that guy. And
Yep.
I was like, oh, all right. I wasn't expecting this from him because like I was like because when you picture comedians, like that'd be like if Chris Farley, if he had made it through the 90s. I wish he had, but
Oh
if
yeah,
he had made
same.
it through the 90s, coming out and being like, hey, listen, I'm directing a horror.
Yeah, it'd be like what?
Huh? What? They'd be well, I mean, Adam Sandler technically played in a comedic horror. The Halloween movie he did like a couple years ago.
Yeah, there was a Who Done It where he plays a cop. That has very the same way comedy horror aspects on it.
I actually enjoyed it. It
I like
wasn't
it too.
it wasn't the best movie ever, but it was definitely a step up from when he played his own twin. That was
Where he plays all the characters. Yeah, it's the same thing with like Eddie Murphy and Nutty Professor
Nutty
and stuff.
Professor.
Yeah.
I I love Nutty Professor for what it was, but God, the just the amount of shit that Eddie Murphy got for playing all of the characters, because he was his grandma, he was his grandpa, his dad, his mom, his brother, his sister, himself, and the Nutty Professor. It's like,
Oh, I love when people are out of their elements. Like a prime example I love seeing is like John Goodman, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like
yeah,
that's
that
not.
was pretty good.
I think would not have appreciated 10 Cloverfield Lane if it wasn't for like John Goodman being so creepy.
Yeah,
Because
because I don't even
it's
think
like,
he was the true big bad in that movie, if I remember correctly.
well, it ties in with Cloverfield. So,
Yeah,
what I love about though is like for like a majority of the movie, you're like, is this guy fucking crazy? Is he just making all this bullshit up? Because this sounds very outlandish that he's saying all this shit. It's like, how do we know?
yeah. I didn't watch the full movie of it because
Oh my
um,
god, it's so good.
when I went to go see it, that came out what, 2017.
Fuck, I don't remember.
I
Can
don't
you look it
remember
up?
either.
But go with your
Yeah.
thought. I'll look it up. 16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because I was still in the Marines. I was stationed at Jacksonville. I was stationed in Jacksonville in North Carolina, and my wife had just gone down to Florida to visit with her mom, and I didn't have anything to do. It was like a Friday. I was like, I'm gonna go watch a movie. So I went to the local cinema, watched 10 Cloverfield Lane, and we got about 2/3 of the way into it, and then they had a power surge,
Oh
and it broke
no.
the camera that
Projector.
they were. Yeah, they broke the projector, and I was like, there, and then like someone came over the loudspeaker and they're like, we're issuing refunds to all moviegoers at this time, please come to the front with your ticket stub. And I was like,
Lame.
oh. And they were shut down for like another week after that because apparently the GFC outlets did not work for what they were supposed to, so the surge went into a lot of the projectors.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah, I didn't get to see how it ended.
Watch it when you can. It's a fantastic film.
I liked what I saw, and a lot of it was the whole John Goodman being creepy, and that one would kind of fall into the psychological creature movie.
That's what I was saying. Like the alien invasion kind of feel is why I'm bringing that up. But another one that popped in my head, like with like when we're talking about comedians becoming serious roles, one of my absolute favorites is Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo. It's a very good thriller.
Oh yeah, that one was good. There was another one that he played in. It was in the 90s. Let me see. I can't remember the name of the movie, but he basically goes to hell to save his wife, and it's not a horror. Well, kind of has horror elements. It has the whole, not scary with scary in it at some scenes.
Fair.
But I can't remember the name of it. Give me 1 second.
No worries. I guess that one would also fall under religious horror.
Yeah. What Dreams May Come. It was
Never saw that.
It was a very serious role for him, and it was the first time I ever seen him in anything that wasn't let's see, either just before this or just after this he had done iRobot, or not iRobot, that's Will Smith. Bionicle Man. Bicentennial Man. Jesus.
There you go. Yeah. I was like, okay. I knew where you were going, but I couldn't remember the name either.
He had just done Bicentennial Man, and or he did it either before or just after. So it was another funny, heartfelt Robin Williams feel good movie. And then before that, he had done Patch Adams, and then way before that, we had Mrs. Doubtfire. But
he was also big in like TV and some other stuff too before then too. There's a lot of things he had done before then.
Oh yeah, because he started as a stand-up comedian, and then he got his official like breakthrough on the screen was with the show called Mork and Mindy in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Mork and Mindy finished airing, he went back to doing stand-up comedy, and then he got roles in movies. And I can't even remember what his first movie was. I used to know all this stuff because I'm a huge Robin Williams fan.
I'm a Robin Williams fan, but I don't know his entire fucking filmography because he's done so much, even from like small roles, cameos. I mean, his voice acting.
Yeah, I've seen 99% of everything that he's done. I've watched all of Mork and Mindy. I've watched just about every movie he's ever been in. A good performance, or a good part of his stand-up performances on comedy.
I love him to stand up. I remember the first time I heard one of his stand-up comedies, I heard him curse for the first time. I was like, Jeannie doesn't curse.
Mrs. Doubtfire, how dare.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, because the first curse word I ever heard him say was "oh fuck," and the way that he said it, I just mimicked it, and it stuck. I was like,
fair.
I was like, Robin Williams drops the F-bomb?
Yeah, I know. It's such a shocker. It's like, I didn't know like with Bob Saget was a fucking big ol' ass perv.
Oh my God, yeah. Dude, freaking some of his old stuff was like, oh, because he hosted America's Funniest Home Videos for like 15 years.
Full House. I mean, he's like the typical the dad figure, and then hearing like later on, it's like, oh my God. But I feel like that's also the thing with growing up is you never realize how like people actually are because you're so used to seeing them in a certain role or something like that. It's like when you see all your action stars in sensitive roles or not actiony kind of roles, I guess.
Yeah, like even now, friggin' Arnold Schwarzenegger just did a funny movie for Netflix called Fubar. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't really know much
I don't
about
even
it.
know about it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, but he's not Arnold. He's Ani. You know, he's not being serious. He's being kind of funny in that movie, from what I understand.
Well,
So
he's
I'm
done
like,
comedy before. I mean, you have Twins. He's got Kindergarten Cop,
and freaking Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. Yeah, it's like one of
But
my
I
last
mean,
Christmas movies.
honestly, like I like seeing the action heroes of my childhood, or just like action heroes in general, doing a funny movie, because that's always the best. Because
That's fair. It's
Vin
it's
Diesel
out
and
of their
Pacifier.
element.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's out of their element. It's like we were talking about with John Goodman, Rob Williams, and these thrillers. Like it's
yeah,
very, very good seeing them branch out or like try something else. I love when that happens. I love
yeah.
seeing comedies and serious actors do different things. It makes filming better.
I honestly wish I could have seen Robin Williams do a horror comedy. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Be interesting, yeah. I mean, it's like again, I don't like Zombieland, but Bill Murray being in that was actually really hilarious.
Oh my god, I love Bill Murray in that movie. I liked Zombieland when it first came out, and then I rewatched it again, and I'm just like, they could have done better.
I just my personal complaint is when I hear zombies, I like to see blood and gore and bodies being eaten, and
Yeah,
you get very minimal of that. So that's why I'm like, ugh, I didn't get enough blood and gore from a zombie film when I hear zombie, and that was just personally me.
yeah. Me, I'm a big Twinkies fan. So like when like that's what like kept me involved in the movie, was like, is he gonna get his fucking Twinkie? But fun fact about him. What's his name?
Woody
The
Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. His father was a contract killer for the mob, and
That I did not
there's
know.
yep, and there's also speculation that him and Matthew McConaughey might be brothers, because Matthew McConaughey doesn't know who his father is, and he's got his mom's last name.
I don't know. Honestly, like I very rarely pay attention to like celebrity personal lives. It's just the stuff I happen to fall upon is what I know.
I just fall into a rabbit hole of fan theories about certain movies, certain fandoms, and then like certain celebrities, and I'm like, they got the same nose, maybe.
Fair, fair. I can't deal with like fan theories sometimes, man. I feel like some of them are just like
So
pulled out and
outlandish.
well, it's not even just outlandish. Like someone pulled it out their ass, like just trying to connect it to their theory. Kind of, I don't know. I can't deal with it. People who do that, I feel like have way too much time on their hands.
Yeah, like some fan theories I can get behind, and some that's reaching. That
The
is
only
that is
fan theory
terrible.
I've ever heard that I can kind of make that makes sense would be Mad Max Fury Road. That the Max that we know, which is Tom Hardy's character, is the little boy from the second one. Like I remember reading that fan theory, and I was like, that makes sense. I highly doubt it, but that makes sense.
Honestly, that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, I could see that, because we don't Mel Gibson couldn't really do that role again.
I'm sure if he wanted to, he probably could have. But I think he was done with the role. I don't remember
Yeah.
why he didn't do anything in that film. But regardless, yeah, no, agreed. But I fucking love that movie. That when that movie came out, I think it was 2015. I went to the theater and saw that like 4 times. I love that movie.
There was a movie that was like that for me in the horror genre, and I can't remember what it was. I watched it.
Horror genre. I think most recently for me was Black Phone. I went and saw it like 3 or 4 times in theater. I loved that film. That was my number one movie for like 21. I absolutely fell in love with that movie.
Oh, I remember what it was. It was the first time. It was the first
I
time I
mean,
watched Sinister. I watched Sinister like three more times after that. So I watched it
right.
a total of like 4 times in
Sinister
theaters.
is well, it's the same crew that did Sinister and Black Phone, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
Same
because
director.
like I loved
Both have Ethan
Sinister.
Hawke in it.
Yeah. What really and honestly, I didn't like Sinister 2. I like what they tried to do, but
No. no. I no Sinister 2. I could not. Oh my god. I wanted to like it, but I
Yeah,
saw it once and that was more than enough for me. The
yeah.
first one
Like
though, yeah, very good. I mean, I every so often me and my wife will throw on some of our favorites, and that's definitely one of the ones that's always in rotation.
yeah,
The movie's
because like
so good. The
if
ghoul is so menacing when like you watch the film and he's not in it, and you slowly start to see him appear. It's like, oh, this is so unnerving.
like I went and did research on this because like I was actually like paranoid. I was like, what if this is one of those films that like follows you home, you know? And I was like, let me make sure this is a fictional character. And like they and like there was articles that were like, oh, Bagul is based off of these two ancient demons, blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh great, so I've got a 50-50 shot. Eh.
No, I love Sinister. Sinister is really good, but I loved Black Phone more. I fell in love with Black Phone.
I I enjoy just about anything that Ethan Hawke is in. I used to mix him and Kevin Bacon up a lot.
That's a hard mix up for me personally, but honestly, I really don't even think like when I think of Ethan Hawke, there's very few movies that pop into my head immediately. And like the number one that usually pops in besides Black Phone and Sinister is Daybreakers with him and
Yeah,
Sam Neill when they're vampires.
yeah,
Also had
he did good in that one.
Willem Dafoe, I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it had Willem Dafoe. He was the first human turned vampire that turned back to human
Something
in
like
that
that,
movie
yeah.
because they were running out of food for the vampires, and they were rationing everything to everyone that wasn't rich, and then they were turning into like ghoulish bat like humanoid
Things. Yeah.
vampires. Yeah,
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but yeah, I really don't think about much of Ethan Hawke. And then again, same with Kevin Bacon. There's just very few things.
yeah. Kevin, I mean, you know, for what Kevin Bacon has done, you know, he's done it and he's done it well. And
Yeah,
same with
no,
Ethan
agreed.
Hawke.
The first movie that pops in my head is a drama with Kevin Bacon, Sleepers, and Mystic River. Those are like the first two things that pop in my head when I think about him, honestly.
I forgot he was in Mystic River.
But he's the main detective.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. I forgot who all was in it. Honestly,
That's fair.
that's fair. Yeah. Um. Let me see. For let's see for gore, witchcraft, and well, I mean we've already covered vampire, but for gore and witchcraft,
Ooh, gore.
let's see.
See, gore is a little hard for me. The reason
Yeah.
why is because I mean, when I think of like gory movies, it's usually like Green Inferno or what's another really bloody ass movie. I mean, you could even technically do this. Some of the Saws is pretty bloody.
Yeah. For me, honestly, I'd have to say The Thing would be the only one that comes to mind when I think of gore. Because, like, I mean,
I
with
think of
horror, you
Body
can,
Blow immediately.
yeah,
I mean, some slashers have a lot of blood, and some of the remakes have a lot of blood. I'm just trying to think. Like when I think of like gore, it can be like what is like visually gory and not necessarily bloody. Yeah, it's still really hard because like I just think
yeah,
of like what's the most blood
like,
when I think of
because
gore.
you can combine creature features with this one because
Yeah,
American Werewolf in London.
yeah. No, I know,
That,
but even still, that there's not a lot of blood in it, but it's very visceral looking when there is blood.
yeah,
Um,
when
yeah,
there
no,
is
that's not.
gore, there's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what. Say, I'm trying to think like what's got like copious amounts of gore. The Thing does definitely fit that category. John Carpenter's Vampires, I enjoy with that. Hell, even From Dusk Till Dawn. Most of the Romero zombies, the original Dawn of the Dead, new remake, yeah, that would
yeah.
also count into there.
Oh, here we go. The Evil Dead's the new ones,
The new
not
ones,
the
yeah, no,
not the original.
yeah, was it 2012 or 2014? One
Yeah.
is fucking fantastic. I love that one.
Um,
New one was really good too, but I like the first one more.
got it. The Final Destinations.
You know what? That's fair. I can see those ones. Yeah,
Because that one's not really paranormal. Because death
the
isn't
first
like
one,
a supernatural being.
in some folklore, can be.
Yeah.
For some people. But yeah, no, I can see that in some senses as well. And then for like witchcraft too, there's a lot I haven't really seen with that. Um, but one movie I hated the movie, but I liked how they did the witchcraft was the third Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. I
Yeah.
loved how they portrayed the witchcraft in that, but God, I hated that movie. It was not good.
See, for witchcraft, for horror, for me, I would have to honestly go with The Craft.
Craft is good. Yeah.
or
I
the
mean,
Covenant. Either one of
yeah.
those. I like those because um
Okay, so when we say witchcraft, could we technically do like some like almost like folklore kind of aspects, like Hereditary or Midsummer? Because I would personally say like Midsummer then in that sense with like cult almost,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
I
more
definitely
culty, I
consider those.
guess.
Yeah,
Witchcraft culty can kind of go hand in hand with each other in some senses,
yeah.
but I mean you can also stretch that, I guess. I mean, because with cult films too, you have like The Wicker Man.
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, you technically can throw the paranormals in there because one of them it shows like their whole family with a cult kind of thing. I think that was like the marked ones. I think.
Yeah, yeah, the marked ones. That one was weird because they like the way that movie ended because he teleported from where he was at to the original house right when she was going on the murderous rampage and then gets killed by the first girl.
Yeah, something like it's been a while since I've seen the series. Hell, Blair Witch, the Blair Witch. I'm down with
Yeah,
that one too.
yeah, because
Yeah,
because
the
it
one I
was.
want to watch, I heard is mixed review, but I heard as good as The Vitch. I haven't seen it though.
Oh, yeah, that one's. It's okay. I liked it because it had a lot of psychological elements in it, but as far as like the witchcraft, like the witchcraft and the scare factor in it, it's there, but it's kind of like a
I heard
back
it's a
burner.
slow burn.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because one movie that's about witchcraft that almost put me to sleep, and it's from one of my favorite fucking musicians and directors, is Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem. Like,
Oh yeah,
the end result was cool and all, but God, it's only like an hour and a half movie, but that movie felt like it was 3 hours long because of how long it felt drawn out. But
I I love
I
Rob Zombie.
liked I do too. I mean, I love the ending, but I cannot be asked to suffer to get to that end again.
Yeah, I love Rob Zombie. I love everything that he makes. I've met him in person twice, and he's a phenomenal human being.
Number one movie he's ever done is still going to be House of a Thousand Corpses for me.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my, I love that movie.
hands down. The first time I watched it, somebody in the theater actually like threw up. It was it was the scene where let me see, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I watched it. It was the scene
My
where
my
where she was
my.
walking through the tunnel.
Oh, okay. In the Hell universe, pretty much. My
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to get enough experience with like prosthetics and stuff like that, so that way I could do Dr. Satan cosplay because I loved that.
Yeah, the guy that played Doctor Satan was a longtime friend of Rob Zombie's. Passed away in like 2014, 15, I think.
Well, I remember Tiny. I can't remember the actor's name. Who's also in Big Fish. Those are like the two films that stand out that he's been in.
Yeah, that was the guy I was thinking of. I'm sorry, it was Tiny, not Doctor Satan.
Yeah, I don't remember when he passed away, but yeah, I remember he took a huge loss. Same with oh my god, why can't I remember Captain Spaulding's name? Oh my god, that's gonna piss me off. Those both piss me off, honestly.
Captain Spaulding was another one that I loved. He was another friend of Rob's.
Mm-hmm. Sid Haig was and Matthew McGorry.
Yep, Matthew
Those are the two.
McGorg. Matthew McGorg was the guy that had that was like 7'4" or something like that, right?
Yeah, he was insanely tall.
Yeah. I do see one movie on here.
7'6". Holy shit.
I do see one movie on here that I've been wanting to watch, but I don't know how to watch it. It's called Psycho Goreman. And it's
never heard of it.
It's on the gore genre, but it came out in 2020. It's rated.
See, I still need to see the Terrifiers because I heard that's a very like I know it's gore porn, but
Yeah.
I heard it's a very good gore porn.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Hostel's another one. Forgot about Hostel.
Hostel, yeah, that one's very, very gory.
It's still the Achilles heel is the one part that I feel like gets me every time because that is just I never forget that scene. You're free to go. Tries to walk and just see his Achilles. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. That movie, honestly, made me not want to go back to Germany because I watched it after I was like just there, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh, it was, oh,
I've been
okay,
staying
so
at these. Why am I staying here?
because I was while I was in Germany, there was no hotels available in Stuttgart, so I still have family over in Germany. So my family let me and a couple of my buddies stay with them because we were flying in on two sticks. It was me and and five other guys, so six of us total that went and stayed with my family in Germany. And then the other guys were coming in like a week later. And then when they were coming in a week later, my family was going to be out of town, but there was going to be hotels available. So my family let us stay with them because our only other option was to stay in a hostel. But when I told I call him my uncle, but he's really like a distant cousin.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah, he's we're blood related, and I was like, hey, I'm in Stuttgart for the next like week and a half. I was like, our option are either to stay in a hostel or if you have the room for us, we'd like to stay with you. And he goes, ah, don't stay in the hostel. Those places are filthy. Come stay with us. Because that side of the family, very fortunate, very wealthy. They're all in the medical field. My uncle is like some kind of neuro operation specialist
or something. Yeah. Like that, yeah.
And he gets paid like per operation.
So you brought up like the medical side on that. What's that movie called? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank now. There's a movie that just popped in my head and I just lost right now. No, it's not. That's not that one. Although that's a good one. Autopsy is a very good one as well. That's not what I'm thinking of though.
So, from what I'm reading on this, Psycho Gorman he's an intergalactic assassin. Intergalactic assassins converge on a small town after two siblings unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord, and it's streaming on Roku. So
oh, nice. The one I was thinking of is Pathology because you brought up medical and so on and so forth. It's a very good like thriller one is Pathology. Oh, that movie was so good. I could not remember for the life of me, but I had never heard that movie. My wife, so long. Yeah, my wife had told me about it, and I watched it, and I fucking loved that movie. I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I did.
You know, like I think medical horror should be its own subgenre because there's a few good ones that I know of, but I can only remember Pathological right off the top of my head.
Pathology, Reanimator. Technically, you can throw the Human Centipede in there. Medical horror. What else would be in there? I know there's a lot of
Flatliners. That one's a good one. And if you have not watched Flatliners, I highly recommend it because it is a great movie. It's got oh god, I can't even remember the full cast. Let me look at it again.
I hate trying to remember a lot of movies sometimes because it's like fuck.
Yeah, I'm like, it had that one guy. He did The Thing. You know, let's see. The original Flatliners came out in 1990. It has Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon, Oliver.
Mentioned this before. I remember this because you said there was a remake of it.
Yeah, the remake came out in 2017.
And I remember you explaining the plot to me about it. And I was like, yeah, that seems something I want to watch. I don't know why I've never heard of it or watched it. But another action one that popped in my head real quick was The Cell. I just had to say that one because that popped in my head.
Oh yeah.
That's also like a psychological as well.
Yeah, the scene where J-Lo is talking with the little kid, it scared me and pissed off my granddad because it woke him up from a nap.
Yeah, I remember I was talking about that.
He was so mad. He was like, "You little shit."
Fair, and I didn't realize what time it was. Holy shit!
Oh, I did not either. I think we covered all of them because we talked at length.
We covered quite a bit, and there's still a lot more to go through.
We've talked at length about zombies, so anything Robert Romero or
George Romero, but yeah, no, George Romero. Rodriguez is also another like just in general gory director that I love with like Tarantino with the over the topness.
I guess another gory one that you could kind of throw in there that would also be a monster or a creature feature. Jeepers Creepers, the
They
first and
could
the
have
second
a
one.
monster. I mean, if you want to count the house full of bodies, yeah. I mean, that's very gory, but bloody wise, not too bad.
Yeah, it's not super bloody, but like the body gore is definitely there
Oh yeah,
because when he beheads the cop, picks it up, turns it around, and then like seemingly
smells and
kisses it,
everything.
and then just like slowly pulls out the tongue of it. I was like, ow, 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 ow.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's like that part stuck with me. And I have to say the one where he like in the second one where his wing is through the roof and then the guy like tries to duck under it and as it does it snatches him up and takes his head off and then like his shirtless body with his head
Just walking
decapitated
around. Yeah.
is like sitting there just like swinging and then it just like falls down. I was like, oh.
Oh yeah, no, the first two are really really good. Third one never existed. Never should have existed. Mm-mm.
Watch it if you're curious, but don't go into it expecting a whole lot.
It's so
I,
bad.
I I liked what they tried to do, but what they tried to do wasn't.
Wasn't working. Not at
Yeah,
all.
and now they've got a fourth one where they're trying to reboot it, and I've heard nothing but bad things about it. I'm gonna watch
I
out of curiosity.
Yeah, same. That's probably what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. So I mean, like if I watch it and I actually find this one good, I'm doubtful, but hopeful at the same time. You know, I was kind of like that with Saw 3 because by like the second one, I was like, oh, what else could they possibly do if they make another one?
See, I hate the second one for many reasons. I appreciate what it's trying to do and tell a bigger story. Cool.
Yeah.
But like some of the people in that are so dumb. I understand that it is what it is, but like I couldn't get on board with the second one. But the third and fourth one I love. Like those are the main three core that I
Yeah.
feel like is the best of all of them.
And,
But the first one is always going to be my favorite just because it like not only started the whole thing, but like it just is such a good soundtrack, such good framing. With as small of a budget, they capitalize with everything. It is so good. Oh my god, it's like an 18-day shoot. So good.
The fun fact about the second and second and third one, the lady that was the druggie, Amanda, I think was her name. She played in a comedy show that I used to watch all the time. It was called Becker, and yeah, she played. It had the main star was a doctor who was an actor who was on the show about the bar. What was it called? Happy Days.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was on Happy Days. Oh wait, no, Happy Days was with Fonzie.
Yeah, that's
Not Happy Days. What was the comedy show about the bar? Can't remember.
Cheers.
Cheers. He was on Cheers, and then he did Becker, and I cannot remember his name. He's on something else currently now. Let me look up the cast. Ted Danson is his name.
Ted Danson, yeah.
And the lady's name was Shawnee Smith. That was the girl who played Amanda, and like I like watching her on Becker, I had like the biggest crush on her because she was she was supposed to be like the comedy relief airhead of the group, and but she was also like pretty, so it was like
first crush ever is still gonna be Amy Jo Johnson
from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, yep.
First crush. That was my first crush.
Funny enough, my daughter actually fell asleep watching the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers pre Tommy on Netflix, and I walked in and saw Amy Jo Johnson, and I was just like, oh, she's still pretty,
so beautiful, so beautiful.
She was like 20 when I was like not when I was born, so I was like,
yeah.
So like if I seen her,
even if you say she was like 18, let's just say she's 18. I was like 6.
Yeah, like because the movie or the show, show came out in America 1990, I think. And it had,
oh my god,
and it had the original red, yellow, blue, black, and pink Rangers. Ooh, and then 1992 they introduced Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born the year that the Green Ranger was introduced. That's
That's
Wow.
weird to say. It premiered '93, so I was 3 when it came out. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Ugh.
But yeah, let's see, for me though, yeah, I'd have to either be Amy Jo Johnson or Topanga.
I never got into Boy Meets World.
I only I didn't, but my mom watched it, so I was like, meh,
Fair.
because it was about high school teens. I wasn't even in elementary school yet, and I was just like, oh, she's pretty, and
Fair.
that's what hooked me. I was just like, oh, I like Topanga, and and then yeah, of course, Amy Jo Johnson, but let's see. You know what's actually really funny is that I have like all of my celebrity crushes split up into different genres that I first watched them in. Because Amy Jo
And that's
Johnson,
not a bad thing. I mean, because I only have like really two, I guess you could say, celebrity crushes in that sense, even still to this day. And they're only because of very specific situations. So yeah, that's fair.
but I'd have to say for like, because I even have like a horror genre crush because that's all she does is horror genre.
If we're gonna talk horror night crushes, Samara Weaving, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let me see. See, for overall, honestly, and I've been called a simp for this woman, and I don't care. She's still really pretty even to this day. Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yeah, that's fair.
because I watched a movie where she forgot, I think it was like Christmas with the Cranks, I think it was, where like they try to fly away to some tropical destination instead of spending Christmas at home or something like that. And I seen her in a swimming suit, even though she was like 50 something. And I was a teenager. I was like, hot damn. It caught me off guard. And like even to this day, she's still really pretty. It's just Jamie Lee Curtis, but another one like that for me. And I have like the only one that I have the hall pass for is Jennifer Aniston.
That's fair. I forgot. Was she get her start on? It was Pumpkinhead,
Friends.
or was it? No. That was the TV show and stuff
Leprechaun.
like that. But like Leprechaun, that's what it was, right?
Yeah. She played in the very first Leprechaun, and then a few other horrors because she started on Friends, got the part for Leprechaun.
I think
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Was that the first one? Let's see. What was I just said her name?
I want to say it. I want to say that was.
Nope, not Jennifer Coolidge. God.
Yeah,
young Jennifer
was her first like TV role. I mean, a movie role, because that came out in '93.
Yeah, because let's see, movies and TV shows. Yeah, it was the first Leprechaun. It came out in '93. And then right after that, Friends started because Friends started 1994, ended 2004. I think that's really the only horror role she's done.
I don't know her entire fucking filmography.
She was in Iron Giant? What?
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh, she was Annie. She was the mom.
Oh shit. I do hang on, I remember that's actually I think that's Vin Diesel's first movie role as well.
Yep. It was. He played in something else before that, but it was like something that he wrote and directed, and it was a very small role, very small film, and then someone heard his voice.
No, that's fair. I was gonna say, if we're gonna say like creature features and stuff, my favorite Vin Diesel movie that just popped in my head is Pitch Black. I love Pitch Black.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie. I like the Riddick series. It's still going strong. Like they're making another one.
I haven't seen the third one. Technically, it goes Pitch Black, Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick, and then it's just Riddick, and Riddick is the one I have not seen.
It was good. I liked it because if you remember at the end, he becomes the leader, and the third one he gets excommunicated. Yeah, he gets excommunicated, and then he has to like kind of start all over from there. And the next one that's coming out is Furia, because the lady
It's
that he
based off his
saw,
race.
yeah, the lady that he saw in his vision is still alive, because when the people came through and killed out his people, they only were killing the firstborn males of all the family. So that's why when he says in Pitch Black, I was found in a dumpster with my umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. That's what happened. Because he's one of the last remaining Furians.
Yeah, I used to remember that entire thing because they've touched a lot of that, his background in Butcher Bay, the video game for the Xbox.
I love that game. I love that game.
It doesn't handle well by today's standards, but it's still a fun game.
Oh, my favorite. I got stuck.
Speaking of which, of video games and horror, we will be having a guest when we do that episode.
Very special guest, so stay tuned for that. You will love his voice. He won't have a face cam on like me or Miz. Still a fantastic friend of ours, great guy. I will let him introduce himself when the time comes.
And it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, in Butcher Bay, the one I got stuck in the part where you're in the solitary confinement chamber, where like they put you in a knockout and then they slide you into the thing. I didn't realize that that I had to push a specific button to kick the wall to make it knock itself out of the slot.
Fair. I remember one of the parts I got stuck with was the sewer area where you it's like after a couple levels after you encounter the like little mutants that are inside the sewer system. But there's another sewer system later on I got stuck in. But we'll have to circle back to that when we go back to that episode.
Oh yeah, a little taste for what's to come.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be great. That's gonna be a great episode. I'm already looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to that one.
Yeah, same. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a very fun time. But yeah, I think we have officially touched on the top 10 popular subgenres.
I think we went through a lot more than just the top 10 for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you guys have any favorite genre that we didn't touch on, forgot about, didn't mention, what have you, message Miz, message me, comment, whatever you see fit, let us know, and we'll definitely speak up on it, because that's
yeah, for sure. Being introduced from different opinions too, or like touching more on specific ones, is something that we like to hear. Not only feedback from, but to like know what we should be talking more on. Because I feel like I brought up how it doesn't get enough attention is the Earth horror. Like it's very few films with it, and so on and so forth. So like hearing more people like into that Earth horror is not my favorite. Some is, some isn't. But hearing from you guys to know what more we can talk about, or if we're brushing over some of them, like to make sure.
Yeah, because I mean, like, what was it? A couple episodes ago when we were talking on like folklore. There's so much out there, just like there's so many subgenres of horror. We couldn't possibly cover that in just 2 hours.
I mean, we could cover a good portion of the main popular ones, but there's so many like small ones that it's usually isolated and not national or global that people hear about.
Yeah, because I mean, like hell, like if you wanted, because I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like when we got the comment from Arista Grizz was like how that story he was telling us about was like the inspiration for the Blair Witch Project, which really piqued my interest, and I went down a little rabbit hole with that. Like it's very fascinating, getting introduced to new things, or being told like, yeah, I like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, honestly, and then another thing that actually kind of piqued my interest, honestly, was when I read up on that, how the whole basically because of the story that Grizz commented on and told us about, it started a whole new genre of horror movies, which is the found footage horror movies, like Quarantine. I love Quarantine because that movie is,
I think it's Rec. That's like the original one that happens in, I think it's Spain.
Yeah, that's like the one that I watched first.
No, yeah, VCR is the alien one. Yeah, so Rec is the one I'm thinking of.
That's the one that I watched first, and then I watched Quarantine. and they literally just copy and pasted the movie over shot for shot. And I
Yeah,
was,
essentially from Spain into America.
and honestly, even though they did a copy and paste job, I love both
And see,
respectively.
that's one of the things is like sometimes I don't mind copy and paste. There's some very good instances and there's a lot of bad instances.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, so
But
many bad.
I do love how that one is that way.
Yeah,
It's like certain TV shows. Like for me, one that like I appreciate and love is like The Last of Us. They did a very good copy and paste for the most part, and like that's all. It's not hard to do video games into movies, especially like the horror genre. Like Silent Hill is probably
oh
like
my god.
the closest and the best, but it's like still when you look at the games, it's still not as good as it could have been.
I kind of wish they would have done the third one where you're playing as the guy that slowly turns into Pyramid Head from the game. I kind of wish they would have made a movie about that.
That's not Origins, not Shattered Memories. I got to remember which one that is.
I can't remember. I can't. I just remember.
I want them to make one. I want them to make fucking Silent Hill 2 into a movie. Oh my god, I'd love to see that.
What was the? Oh god, what was the one where um, you were playing as the girl that started it all?
Three.
That's three.
The one. Oh my god, what's her name?
This one came out like 2005, 6, I think. It came out with the Xbox. I remember that. Or no, I'm sorry. Xbox. It came out on PlayStation 2.
That could have been The Room or 3.
I think it was The Room.
See, we're getting into the video game horror.
Yep.
We can't.
So this is gonna be we're gonna save all this energy for next episode.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's gonna be so great because like we're already picking each other's brains about video games that we played that were friggin' scary, and it's just gonna
that's why I was like, okay, no, we're getting too into this.
Yeah, but I think this is a good stopping point.
Yeah,
from me to everyone out there. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.